Hot earth, fire, air,
forest,
spirit, change.
heart,
Was the last one balance? It was balance, right? It wasn't order.
helium.
Because Kavira's thing was order, but what they really needed wasn't order, it was balance. That was the lesson you were supposed to take away in case you didn't get it.
That wasn't spirit?
No, Spirit was the
was
second season. Then the third season
was the second season.
No, she was the fourth season. What are you even talking about?
Kavira. I was thinking of another one.
Did you mix up the names?
Yeah, I can mix up the names.
You watched this show much more than I did.
I know.
Still, I know the difference between the characters and you don't.
Right, so sorry.
I guess it's been a long time. I researched it recently, and you haven't watched it in a while. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's still surprising, is all I'm saying. Welcome to.
I haven't been thinking about it.
Welcome to Footnotes, the podcast where we talk about movies and TV shows and how we would fix their less desirable elements. How we would rewrite them if we had the money and the funding and the copyright.
And complain that we unfortunately can't.
Welcome to episode 6. My name is Ezra Block. This is my brother Jacob. And today we're going to be talking about Legend of Korra Season 1. I figured that we would start with Season 1. There's a lot of problems over the course of the entire series, but, if we feel like never doing an episode again, we can be like, this is the episode for Legend of Korra. And if we feel like doing another episode because we don't get through too many of the problems this session, then we can come back for Season 2 or whatever. But as of now, we're just going to figure out how we would want the series to start and maybe how we would want to depict the characters.
All right.
First off, so usually how we start this is, you may notice I wrote down some of the names of the characters at the top of the page so we don't have to look them up later. Usually we just look up whatever information we need. We start off by listing the problems with the show, and then we start making a list of how we would fix those problems down below, one at a time. And then we'll round it off maybe with some ideas about where the show would go after the Season 1. I have a very definite idea of how I would want to start the series, but you never know.
Wait, why was Season 4 spirits?
No, Season 4 wasn't. Oh my God, Season 4 was balanced.
Right. That makes much more sense.
Oh my Jesus!
I'm sorry. The names are in fact confusing.
Oh, No, the names aren't confusing. They're stupid. Okay, if they're gonna make 4 seasons, that's fine. But they should have been. Probably just the 4 elements, if they're going to name them.
Okay, so it started with air because
she hadn't learned air yet.
Also because
for reasons that I don't understand.
The last
doesn't
season
seem like he's got a whole lot going on in the Republic City. He could chuff off to the South Pole for 6 months and teach her how to do the airbending in a contained environment. I don't know why they waited to do that last.
Well, that isn't Tenzin. Okay, the North Pole isn't a place for an airbender to learn airbending. The South Pole.
There's air everywhere, Jacob.
Yeah, well, there's ice flakes all over the air in the South Pole.
There wasn't like a sacred place for air at the Republic City. They just built a temple there based on temples that used to exist. It's not like a bunch of airbenders used to live there either.
Well, that was there were devices made specifically for learning airbending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's your point?
They were attached to the building.
No, I know.
So
but that didn't help. Look, I'm just.
Yes, it did.
Look,
I mean,
no.
Let me
ask you.
Look.
Let me ask you a question.
What?
Where can you find air? It's not like when it's not like when you're in the middle of the desert and you're trying to teach someone waterbending. It's literally everywhere.
Look, it's
even more so than the other elements.
It's just there are some places where air is easier to bend than in others.
I have another question. Why?
Like a place where there are a lot of strong winds. That is not as easy.
I have another question.
What?
Why did the White Lotus, they're like, yes, we're going to take you to our like special place, right, where you'll be safe from the Red Lotus and presumably anyone else who's trying to kidnap you, right? And you're going to train there for like 11 years or whatever. But
when did that happen?
It's the whole reason why she was in the South Pole the whole time for all of her training was because the Red Lotus attacked when she was a child and tried to kidnap her. And her parents and the White Lotus were afraid for her safety, so they put her in like a big fort.
Oh. Yeah.
But I have a question, though, about that. Of all the places to build your mystical fort, why, where you train the Avatar, why would you do it out in the open? Wouldn't you like build some kind of safe house somewhere like deep in the jungle or inside a mountain? Or a defensible position.
Why learn airbending in the South Pole?
I can't believe that you're arguing with me over
this. That's where Tenzin and his entire family live.
Are you going to tell me that it took her 11 or however many years, because she was like 6 or something when they found her, 5. You're going to tell me that it took her like over a decade to learn the other 3 elements. And then really? That's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. Look, I'm not going to pick every little thing apart because there's a lot of things to pick apart, and that's not what makes a series good or bad. All I'm saying is that the setup to the thing itself doesn't make any sense.
All right. That's fair.
But let's get into the problems. We get sidetracked on every little detail. We never get anywhere. So, problem uno.
Yeah.
The villains largely lacked rationale, and they were cartoonish in their ideologies, and attempts to make them sympathetic were lazily displayed. I don't know why I wrote displayed. I could have just said they were lazy, but they were lazy, basically. It's very It's the thing nowadays that they do with every villain, where they have one speech where they justify their actions. But, like, real bad people don't do that. Like if you want to write better villain characters, they should be in love with their own, either in love with their own ideology or like highly conflicted to the point where that's obvious. Like the villains in Avatar, right? You had
in The Last Airbender.
The villains in Avatar, you had
in the movie Avatar by James Cameron.
You had Azula, who was a very
right.
Very
in each season, there was a main villain, Zuko, then Azula, then Oza. The second I said it, I knew it was wrong.
Jesus Christ!
You a loser.
You. God damn it! No, the thing about that was the part about that was good was that at no point. I mean, I guess you had the Emerald Isle episode where Zuko and all his friends went to Emerald Isle, and they sat around and they justified why they're so messed up to each other.
I mean, the problem I saw with that,
Azula never like pretended that she was in the right. She was just always in love with being bad, and then you as an audience saw her break down and you saw why she was the way she was, instead of having her explain that or someone else explain that for her to try and make her a more complex character.
As much as I like Emerald Island, I think it was a bit of a shame that they didn't really do anything with the rest of that.
For clarification, we're not talking about the one where they see the play, which I believe is the Emerald Players. We're talking about
the Emerald Island.
The island. That's
the same island.
It was the same island. I believe the island may be the name of the episode where Zuko and Ty Lee and Azula and is May the name of the other one?
Yes.
And May visit visit Emerald Island.
Right.
But yeah. So yeah, that's a problem. The villains, most of the villains in the original series were like good villains. They weren't lazily constructed, and it was very, and their ideologies weren't like reaching to try and make some kind of political statement other than imperialism is bad and genocide is bad.
And they were all doing it for different reasons.
Well, right, but like most of the people in the Fire Nation had like a very set nationalistic outlook. which
I mean, I
is
think
applicable to the real
Azula's
world.
character is a lot more complicated than you claimed it was, but
I didn't say she wasn't complicated. I said they didn't try to force her being complicated. They showed, not told. Like in the first season with Amon, you have the whole thing with him and his brother explains why Amon is so messed up because his father took him into the northern wastes at one point.
it was about an entire
forced
episode.
him to blood-blend wolves, and that and forced him to blood-blend wolves, and that messed him up, I guess, because he. But that's forced. You shouldn't have a character telling that backstory. That backstory should be obvious. It should become clear over the course of the series through hints and then like his own interactions, like the way Amon talks and like does things should show you why he is the way he is.
I mean, it kind of is what happens.
I'm just saying, like that back. It's the same thing with Unalaq, I believe is the name of the villain for number 2, season 2, right? He has a whole speech where he goes like, "You think it was a good idea separating the spirit world from the physical world? Like we should be all in harmony and everything should be linked together, right?" But it doesn't make him a more complex character that you took 1 minute out of the thing to explain why he's doing what he's doing.
Can I say that the name Unalaq sounds completely different from the kinds of names given in the original series?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I don't remember too many of the Water Nation names from Water Tribe names from the original series. But yeah, Unalaq, Tanarak, those are both very Inuit names. And I know that they took inspiration for Inuit culture, but I definitely, I don't know, maybe I'm not an expert on Inuit culture, so I can't say whether or not Sokka and Katara are names that are reminiscent of that.
I don't think they are, but they sounded like.
Who was the other guy who was like a friend of their father? Was his name Bato? Bato, yeah.
No, that's a different thing.
We're thinking that's Balto.
No, there's a Bato in this show.
Yeah, there was like his name ended with no, if I remember.
No, that's wrong.
If I remember, we could just look it up.
No, I have to figure this out. I have to.
I'm thinking back, and their names were not. They didn't have as many R's and Q's, if I remember correctly. But I'm not sure if.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they were still inspired, but maybe not as heavily inspired as you're saying. But anyway, the point is that the villains.
Also, Korra is a real name as opposed to the original names which were made up.
Oh well, then there's your thing: is that Unalaq and Tanarak are probably based on real Inuit names versus like Sokka and Katara are adapted from what Inuit names kind of sound like. They're invented because it's so magic world.
I thought they were like from the culture of the Water Tribe, not from real Inuits.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You're right. It's more of their own thing.
Yeah, it was more adapted to their world. They took
that culture and they took that culture and they used it as the inspiration instead of just using that culture.
Bato is the earthbending friend, right?
No, I don't think that's true.
What's his name then?
But isn't the father's name like Hana or like?
Are you thinking of Hama?
No, yeah, Hama is the mother. One of the mothers.
No, what?
Hama was the name of a mother.
Hama was the name of the original Bloodbender.
Oh no! Oh God. Okay, fine. No, look, I can. We'll circle back to this maybe. Anyway, the point is that the villains largely lack rationale. So, for instance, Amon, right? He's like, we should be equal, right? Like there should be equal rights between people who have magic and people who don't have magic. But the problem with that is you never show like, oh yes, and these people who don't have magic are super oppressed. There's like one scene, I think in the first or second episode, where we see, there's this bending triad, right?
Right.
But that's it, and then we don't get a follow-up. Like, if the triad was part of the storyline, if there's, like, this big criminal underground that's for benders, right, and it has this, like, chokehold on the city, then that would introduce real conflict. But you can't have that because one of the main characters, right, Lin is the name of the...
Lin? Bo Lin was the name of the earthbending friend.
Not
Lin. Okay.
No, not Bo Lin.
What are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the lady who's in charge of the metal bender.
Okay. I don't remember her name.
Republic City. Isn't it Lin? Lin Beifong?
Lin Beifong. That sounds right.
Yeah. So the problem with that is you would then have to be like, and this lady is then bad at her job because the triad is in charge of the city, right? They're like ruining these people's lives, and nobody seems to be stopping them.
Right.
So there's never that kind of conflict. They never show you, oh yeah, these people are oppressed. They never show you, oh yes, these spirits are restless and people have lost touch with spirituality to prove Unalaq's point, right? In the fourth season, I believe, like Korra has some discussion with Toph, which we'll get to that later. But Toph is like, the problem with these people is extremism, right? They take their ideas to an extreme, but really their ideas don't have a basis to begin with, because you never showed that they actually had a point. If they have a point, then it becomes, morally complex to some degree, and it puts pressure on the heroes to actually change the status quo for the better. But if Amon doesn't have a point that non-benders are oppressed in a meaningful way, if Unalaq doesn't have a point that the spirit world should be closer to the physical world, which doesn't make any sense because in Avatar, spirits appeared all the time, so they can clearly move between the worlds really easily.
I mean, did they?
Yes, like there was a whole episode where he fought a spirit. Yeah, that spirit had no problem getting into our world. It doesn't make. I don't know what the. I mean, is it that most of them can't? Yeah, it's not well explained. It doesn't make sense in the lore of the world that they've already established.
But that was the third season, right? Yeah, it was the third season.
What are you talking about?
The spirits thing, about the spirits being able to move to different worlds. That was season 3.
Are you talking about Avatar or Korra?
Korra.
Okay, in Korra, at the end of the second season, the two worlds become like remerged. Okay. And then there are spirits all over in number 3 and number 4. In seasons 3 and 4, yeah. But again, what I'm saying is that isn't necessary. The only difference is now the spirits, you can see them. Instead of them being invisible things that pass through your life, now you can just see these weird things walking around doing their thing.
All right.
But that's my point. The villains are ill-defined, and it's the same thing with the Red Lotus, right? Where they're like an anarchist group, but you never give us a reason to believe that there genuinely is a problem with the government. There
was that whole story arc.
No, I'm saying there needs to be an intractable problem with the governments across the whole world to justify what they're trying to do. Because there's a difference between it being like, oh yes, this one leader is corrupt, ergo all government is bad.
Well, and it isn't about the
government can't fix this problem.
People don't do things because of what's happening. They do things because of what they think is happening.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I'm saying if you want the villains to actually be complex, and it's okay if you don't want them to be complex, but if you want them to be complex and you want the story,
you can do a lot with a shallow character.
If you want this, also true. I was going to say Azula for a second, but I rethought it. What was the name of that one? General Zhao. He was a pretty shallow character, but he still made for a good antagonist.
Admiral Zhao,
yeah. He might have gotten promoted at one point. Anyway,
he was a commander first.
Yeah, Commander Zhao, Admiral Zhao, yeah. Dead Zhao, consumed by the ocean spirits Zhao. See, again, there's no distinction between the spirit world and the physical world. It doesn't make any sense.
No, but you see, they're very old, powerful spirits who crossed over a long time ago.
We're not going to spend this time just like picking apart the logic. We're going to spend this time talking about what's wrong with the story. So that's the first problem. The villains lacked rationale, and they were cartoonish in their ideologies.
Okay.
Solutions. The other thing is, of course, that you had you didn't really have any reoccurring villains because they killed off all their villains with every season.
Every season had a different...
And I know people will say that that's not their fault because they didn't know that they were going to get another season. Simultaneously, I would also like to say, just because you were working under certain constraints does not does not clear you of the blame for bad creative decisions.
Okay, so the thing about the villains in the original series,
Yes.
all the villains were firebenders.
Also true.
In the new series, there's a different kind of person in
each one.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's no tangible link between any of them.
But
well, there's a tangible link between the ones in season 3 and the ones in season 4.
Okay, season 1 was about non-benders.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. There needs to be cohesion. That the next, actually, it's one of the other ones is that there's no thematic cohesion between the seasons. I think I wrote that down.
I mean,
there's no thematic cohesion between the series. There's no seasons. There's no thematic cohesion across the scope of the series.
In season 3, there was a lot about connection with the spirits, as happened with season 2.
Well, yeah, but that needs to. So if that's going to be the thing, if it's going to be that this is a steampunk world and people have lost touch with the spiritual aspects
that's
of Bang
only
Bang.
in Republic City, like how in the Fire Nation they were a lot more technologically advanced as opposed to the Water Tribe.
I'm just saying there needs to be a point that this series is making. Like Avatar had a point. It had a lot of points that bridged together a point.
To form a single
there was
layer.
There was a web that wove together a tapestry.
It pointed in the same
That's
point.
right. And there is no point with Legend of Korra because the villains are for the most part disconnected, and the attempt to connect them under one statement is lazy and cliche. So I propose
each villain will be a reaction to the previous villain.
I propose that we have like Avatar starts with the single reoccurring antagonist. There are multiple other antagonists throughout the series, but the single antagonist is the Fire Lord and the Fire Nation.
Okay.
Legend of Korra needs a single antagonist, at least to begin with.
All right.
And I propose that single antagonist be the Red Lotus.
Okay. So you want the Red Lotus to exist.
So from the beginning of the series, the Red Lotus are the antagonists.
Okay.
And I propose that the shift between, and I propose that the major thematic theme, the major theme for the series is the shift from pastoral life to industrialized civilization.
Pastoral life to industrialized civilization. Okay.
I don't think we should be at 1920s level yet. It can still be like it can even be like
Victorian times.
Victorian, kind of like Victorian times. Like the bridge.
Then it could be a whole lot more steampunk.
It doesn't need to be more steampunk. That's not.
Could be, though.
The problem with Legend of Korra is not that it the problem with Legend of Korra is not that it downplays the steampunk elements. In fact, I would argue the opposite, given that it ended with a giant 1920s robot shooting a laser at somebody.
1920s?
That robot is very clearly inspired by like pulp magazines and comic books from that period of time.
Okay. Hey,
and sci-fi stuff. So one. So solution number 1. The Red Lotus are antagonists from the beginning. The thematic, the greater arc of the series is the compromise of spirituality and and peaceful and being close to nature for the advantages of post-industrial society.
So this is post-industrial society.
Yeah. It's not post-industrial society. It's going to be miserable as far as industrial goes because that's the way it was when they first invented factories. But it's going to be that in the future, life could get better because of technology. And if they regress, things will just continue to stay the same as far as disease, life expectancy, living conditions.
I mean, you say regress, but it was actually a lot better before.
It was better. No. Things got really bad during the Industrial Revolution, but after the Industrial Revolution, it gave people widespread access to medicine.
Right? No. I'm talking about housing. I'm talking about the canon, the universe.
What do you mean?
The effects.
But yeah. Well, you can say yes, it will be worse than it was in Avatar because people will be working in factories
right.
and
if they regress to before, then it would be better.
But they will never get access to stuff like cars, right. which are much safer than horses and wagons.
Right.
On a vast level.
Right.
So that should be the major
fish horses.
Or fish horses, depending on how you're. Yes, exactly. Speedboats, I imagine, are safer than riding on the back of a seal. Or a seal bear, or whatever they have.
Technology, industrial technology will come from the Fire Nation.
Well, the technology is already there at the end of The Last Airbender, as far as the Earth Kingdom, if I remember. That's what that's where the guy came from, the inventor.
Right, the inventor. Yeah.
Yep. So that technology is already available, but I imagine.
That's just one guy.
But I imagine. Well, how big of okay? So let's set up some rules. How big of a time span are we looking at?
Well, this is supposed to be the next Avatar.
Yes.
Right.
How old was Aang when he died? I'm imagining something like 110.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So
look, he's a very spiritual person. I imagine him living a long time.
Okay, so this is 100 years later.
Okay, yeah. So, Aang.
So
no, it shouldn't be that long because if it's that long, then the other members would be dead. And I was planning on having Katara show up at least in the first season, and then probably die at some point after that.
How about 80?
Okay, Aang. So it's 80 years.
Or 70
years later.
69 years later.
No. The series,
if he dies at 80, then it would be 69 years after the end of the season.
What are you talking about? He was 12 at the end of the series.
Wasn't he 11?
Yeah. I think it was a whole year, right? He was 11 at the start when he came out of the ice.
It wasn't a whole year. The show didn't take place on a whole year.
It was around a year, correct? Because they went through spring, summer, fall.
Were they in fall?
By the end of the season, I think they were. They
didn't get to winter.
Shit. Nah. Give it a step it about.
Okay, yeah, maybe he was 12.
It needs to be a nice round number. Okay,
68.
80 is a good year. Is a good number of years. We're not going to quibble over the details.
Is he 80 or is it 80 years later?
It's 80 years later.
Okay, so he would be 91 or 92.
He would be 92. Yes.
Or 192.
I'm imagining we begin the series with him on the top of a mountain, meditating, right?
Right.
And then there's an acolyte, right, holding a bowl of soup. He's walking up these stone steps.
Everyone, close your eyes and picture this.
Yeah, close your eyes and picture this. Gets to the top of the mountain, right? Places it in front of him, and then steps away. And then as they turn, they he falls backward onto the ground. And they turn and stare at him, and then cut to pans up to the sky, cut to black.
Earth, fire.
No, we probably would not. We would not begin
water.
with. I would probably change the title sequence to not be the way that it is, and also remove the 1920s announcer voice who tells you about what happened in the past few episodes, because I think that's kind of annoying. But
I thought it was fine.
Well, yeah, it's like okay the first time, but like, come on, you want to listen to that for like 60 episodes?
I mean, it didn't make sense
more
because there's no way an announcer could get all that information.
It's a fourth dimension, it's fourth wall type thing,
right?
Anyway, this is the ladder.
Right.
So that's our first thing,
Okay.
and let's go back to the points. So we've gotten through the villain's largely like rationale, or we haven't explored that yet. But basically, yeah, the Red Lotus are fueled by a hatred or industrialization, and the transformation of bending from an art form to a life skill, basically.
To a life.
Well, because we see in the series people just use firebending to like what are welding up ports, right? Like the sides of ships. Like that's how people use their bending nowadays, is to perform jobs.
Ports.
Yeah, like portholes. Like it's that you're zoning in. It doesn't make any sense why I said it, but we see that with Mako. That he's just using his abilities to fix things in a shop, right?
Okay.
In the original series, people are like mastering these abilities and like living in the woods for like 30 years to like figure out how to be powerful and stuff.
That's because it was an art form.
Yes, it's
right.
not an art form at this point in history. It's transformed into
it isn't
something
even a martial art.
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's not a martial art. It is no longer art. It is no longer an expression of one's personality and spirituality. It's become.
That's because it's industrialization.
Yes, it's become meaningless, basically.
So
that's
we're going to bring back the culture.
Yeah, that's what the Red Lotus want. They want to bring back the old ways, basically.
They also
want
to kill the Avatar.
Well, they don't want to kill her. They want to capture her and brainwash her to help them take over, so that they can enforce their beliefs.
And they failed at that.
They are the people.
Wait, how old is she?
I'm imagining at the beginning of the series, because I've noted this as well. The most interesting part of her arc was her being isolated as a child, which is the part we never get to see and which is rarely brought up. So I suggest that the first season take place squeak, squeak, squeak when Korra is like 7 years old.
Right. Apparently that's when she figured out how to bend 3 elements.
We're not gonna have that either. Just thought you should know.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
It's going to be a more arduous. I mean, it's gonna a little bit more complicated than that. But yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of cool things you can do with
the other thing we could
bending in an industrial world. What did you say?
The way the reincarnation works, the thing that I was thinking of, would it work? But the other thing I was thinking
You want to get rid of the past lore that was told in Korra?
No, that's not at all. I wasn't. No, I was just going to say that maybe instead of it beginning with her as a child, right? She doesn't find out until she's in her teens. She's like 16, right? And then at the end of because the travel element is absent in the series. What if at the end of season 1 she runs away from the White Lotus with her friends and they like go around the world, her trying to find people to teach her in a like natural environment?
Are her friends the same people?
They could be some of the same people, probably. And
some are new?
It depends on which ones we want to keep and what we can do with the ones that are there.
Who do we want to keep?
Right, well, let's first make the setup, right? So how old is she going to be at the start of the series?
She's going to be 16, because that's when the air nomads told. It's not. They decided because they had a system. If once they find the Avatar, they're going to tell them when they turn 16, unless there's an emergency.
Right. Was it 16? I thought it was 14.
It was 16.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, are fueled by hatred for injustice and the transformation of bending from an art form into a practical skill. The series begins with Korra at 16. The Red Lotus are previous members of the White Lotus. And okay, so here's what I'm thinking, right? And just tell, like, you know, here. So we're about to get into the lack of personality for the main cast and the lack of their character development, leaves someone invested in them. But we can cross out this one because we've pretty much dealt with that, and we'll talk about maybe some of the other villains as we go ahead, depending on how much we get into this episode. But here's what I'm thinking, right?
Right.
She's 16, right?
Okay.
She lives in the Water Tribe, right?
Right.
Her dad is the head of the Southern Water Tribe, right?
Chief,
the head honcho,
okay.
The big kahuna. The right off the bat, teenage lesbian romance in the Southern Water Tribe. That's what I'm suggesting.
But not with Asami?
No, because Asami is not there at the first episode.
Is there an Asami?
Yes.
Okay.
She will be introduced later in the series.
All right. So we have this new character, this new interesting gay character.
She doesn't have to be super interesting. She just has to, like, exist. Or maybe that sounds really bad now that I think about it. No, but I mean, like, she doesn't have to be, like, super cool or anything. She could just be, like, a normal person who lives.
Right, a normal person who
is a friend of Korra, who is also a normal person at this point in time. And then some traumatic event triggers the Avatar state, and, you know, like a spirit coming out of the North Pole and attacking the town.
It sounds kind of basic.
Like the North Pole, the South Pole, and attacking the town. God damn it, I keep getting these mixed together. Yeah. What do you mean that sounds kind of bait? All right, if you can think of something better.
I thought you were going to say the Red Lotus.
Well, because I'm imagining her powers get triggered, right? People are like, oh, good, that's her. It's her, right?
Right.
I guess they already know, but my question to you is, did the Red Lotus, like, do that test with literally everyone? They knew she was going to be a waterbender. Did they check, like, every water child? That was a weird way of saying that, but that's my question to you.
It's supposed to be an intergovernment system.
Yes.
So the way they figured it out with Aang, they had these toys.
Yes.
And Aang picked them out.
No, I know, but there was a smaller number of. There weren't that many air nomad children, I don't think, at that point. Like, there were a fairly small group of people.
Well, yeah, but
they were all living in one temple.
The Water Tribe is too, right?
I guess so.
Wait,
yeah.
One temple.
There were like 4 temples.
Yeah, there were 4 temples.
But let's say they checked everyone on that temple. There's like, 40 kids? That's not that many kids. I'm just saying, for the purposes of
I'm just saying 160 Avatar possibilities total.
If there's 40 kids on each temple, look, it's even impractical there. Like, just assuming there aren't a lot of kids. What if there's there's a lot of people in the North Pole, right? There's a lot of children there, right?
Sure.
That means
more than 160?
Do you mean, you know what that means, right? Is the number of children that they're going to have to put through this test.
But they don't just put it through the test. It's more of a passive thing. They put out the toys.
Yes.
The relics.
But who does that? Like the village elders or something? Because there are no village elders in the Southern Water Tribe. They all died or got killed.
The chief.
Look, it's fine. We can have it that they know off the bat.
The White Lotus.
We can have it that they know off the bat, and then on her 16th birthday, like, the White Lotus show up, and they're like, "We'd like to talk to you about something." We'd like to talk to you about something, right? We can have it be that if that's what you want. I just thought it would be cooler if it starts out with a traumatic event that triggers her abilities.
Okay.
And if we want, she can be 15 when the event triggers her abilities.
Right.
And that way she doesn't
up the stakes.
Well, yeah, kinda. because then she can be more awkward around her love interest, and then also there can be more emotional turmoil because she's still kind of a kid. She hasn't.
As a fellow 15-year-old.
Jesus Christ. So I'll write that down. She's not 16. She's 15. She goes into the Avatar state.
The Avatar state.
The Avatar state.
The Avatar is telling the truth.
Alright, she goes into the Avatar state when a whale spirit attacks the town for killing too many whales.
Whale spirit? A flying whale spirit?
A whale spirit
just a whale
attacks the town for...
Is it a whale-sized whale spirit?
For killing too many whales and killing them without ritual.
Hilarious.
Because this is a big thing in, at least in the Inupiaq culture, is that they have the whole ceremony before they go out and hunt the whales.
Yeah. It's very popular whale hunting in Inuism. Also,
Inuism? I don't think that's correct.
Stuff. Inuit culture. Right. Yeah, Inuit culture has...
Don't try to invent words on me. I'll call you out.
Is well known for whale hunting.
Well, it just makes sense. If this is an industrial society, if this is like the 1700s, the 1800s. If this is the 1800s, then they would be killing whales en masse for their blubber to light lanterns. And the spirits are not going to be happy about that.
Right.
They're supposed to kill them for food.
What else was that? All right. I think the Japanese also hunted whales for a while.
The Japanese they're big on the whale hunting. It's like part of their culture.
Okay. Yeah. So there's the Inuits.
They like glorify.
There's the Water Tribe and the Fire Nation.
Well, sure. We don't have to introduce that element here, but yeah, basically whales are a good representation of spirituality. It makes sense that there be some kind of spirit that protects the whales and would get angry if you killed too many of the whales or killed them incorrectly. It's a great excuse for us to show the dichotomy between the spirituality and the inability of those two things to work together. You can't be killing whales with harpoon guns and also be worshiping the spirits at the same time.
Right. So the Southern Water Tribe is industrialized.
It's industrialized as far as whaling. Like, it makes sense that they don't have a bunch of machines there because it's wet and cold.
But they have advanced ships and
such.
But
they have motors, maybe. Or no, they didn't have motors back then. No, they don't have motors. I take that back. No motors.
They have sort of Fire Nation style ships.
They can have like a harpoon gun that like can shoot 4 harpoons.
Right. They have harpoons.
So yeah,
but they're powered with hydraulics.
Okay, Jesus Christ, the Southern Water Tribe is semi-industrialized, right? So then, Korra has a friend and crush named Akio.
Aki. I'd like Akio.
What about Akko?
Akko. I mean, sure. Yeah.
Akko? Yeah. Right. And here's my question to you.
Right.
Does Akko die in the first episode, or do we wait until the last episode of the first season to kill her? And then that's part of Korra's motivation for running away from the White Lotus.
So we absolutely have to kill her.
I think she has to die, but she could, if you want, it can be that she sticks around and then comes with them.
We haven't even constructed her personality
and then
yet.
Dies later in like season 2 or 3, so it's more of an emotional gut punch. And then Asami can be Korra's rebound girl, because you never end up marrying the first person that you fall in love with.
Right. But
what?
Do we need an emotional gut punch?
It would help to have one.
Because Aang married the first person he fell in love with.
Look, Jacob, we're making a more mature show for teenagers and young adults. Ergo, we have to make it more emotionally complex in terms of the theme. Not the theme, just the atmosphere.
Okay, so how does Akko die anyway? Decapitation, gut punch?
No, we don't have to get gut punch. I think gut punch is the best way for her to die. An earthbender just punches her in the gut and her spleen falls out of her body backwards.
Congratulations, you pulled a Houdini. Skedaddle skedoodle, you're dead.
No, we don't have to figure out how she dies now, but yeah, she'll die later in the series. Right. But I'm imagining Akko, right? Okay, so first of all, is Akko a waterbender? First of all, is Korra a waterbender before her avatar powers get triggered?
Yes, because, I mean, they had to know somehow, right? Like, okay, so the avatar has above average bending powers, right?
Right, I guess they only have to test the kids that they know are benders, but I'm wondering when the bending abilities first pop up for most children.
I would say 10?
Yeah, I mean, all the children have them in as we see when the Equalists attack the Air Temple at the end of the first season.
So Aang picked the toys when he was a child.
Yes.
So
they must have, yeah, 7? But I don't think they did know that the children were benders. They just like presented the toys to everybody, all the children, and they were like,
"You chose them amongst 1,000 toys."
Oh, wow. Wait, let me ask you a question. If you're a child and someone's like, pick a toy, and there's like thousands of toys, right? You're not going to go like, well, let me go down to row 7B of the 12th column. You're gonna walk across 5 toys, and then you're going to be like, all right, I'm done with this. And you're going to pick the next toy that you see. That's a horrible test. It doesn't make any sense.
The thing is, the avatar would see the things familiarly.
Yeah, but
so you put them in the front, and if they choose those,
the front. What if the ones that would be most familiar to him are at the back of the room? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
The relic things are in the front.
Okay,
so they'll pick those first.
But what I'm saying is, you still wouldn't you would never move to the 3rd row of toys.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that most of those toys you would never pick from. So there's a confirmation bias because if you're in the front, you're more likely to pick the things that are in the front.
Right. Okay.
Maybe it's not confirmation bias.
What if you're in a circular room?
We're spending a lot of time not talking about how to fix Legend of Korra, and I think that's indicative of something going on here. All right. So, the White Lotus already know. Lead us. The White Lotus already know. Korra is a water bender at this time, and is
waterbending prodigy. Ooh.
All right, so but I'm imagining like Akko, right?
Akko, right?
What should her stay? Should she also be a waterbender, or
is there really no Akko in the show?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Should she be the person without any bending? Like Sokka, who gives practical advice?
So, that sounds cool. So what is she good at?
Well, I'm imagining, and you can tell I've thought a lot about this. I'm imagining maybe she wants to be a warrior. Like she wants to protect the tribe as a warrior, which is not traditionally acceptable. Because usually the girls are not allowed to do
healers.
That. Yeah, well, if they're benders, they're healers. Just the men are usually... They don't have female warriors.
And this is only 90 years after the thing, the time that was mentioned. The female warrior tradition thing.
Can you say that warriors. Again?
No female warriors.
Yeah, this is only 100 years after that. So that can be another conflict between the old ways, which are the men do this, the women do this, and that is part of the simplicity of life, and the new ways of people challenging those assumptions and breaking into new fields.
Because the technological progression inspires cultural progression.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
yeah.
Is that?
I think so. There's a waterbender in this time. Akko is training under what's his name? Tonrak? Hanarak. Tonrak is training under Tonrak's wing to become a warrior.
Are we spending the whole first season in the South Pole?
I'm imagining that we are. Although I'm imagining that, we make the White Lotus base is not in the South Pole. So they might spend a little time in the South Pole, and then she gets moved to the White Lotus base, which is on an island in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by sharks. And then later she gets busted out of
laser sharks.
Yeah. Well, here's what my thought is, right? So yeah. We have an episode 2.
Eel
the
hounds.
White Lotus arrive to figure out what to do with Korra because her bending is out of control.
Her bending is out of control.
Well, I'm just imagining like when she went into the Avatar state, she like destroyed like half of the town accidentally, and like she is not like she's still not able to control.
Okay,
things.
What if they make you say that you can't pick a toy until you've seen all of them?
Could we please stay focused on the task at hand? Also, I have a suggestion, and I want to run this by you and see how you feel about it because it ties into the thing I said earlier about the villains. Do you think it would be a good idea if Amon was part of the Red Lotus?
Well, that would change his personality drastically. I mean, maybe not.
Not necessarily. It could be
because
like
he wasn't
total.
He didn't actually believe in the equalization thing, right?
No, he was just scamming people. But what I'm thinking is like, so they got this whole like Marxist angle going with him. What if you make it more of a what's the name of the people who hate technology?
Anarcho-primitivists?
No, well, yes, but I mean like the actual
Unabomber?
People who hate technology are called what? For someone who hates technology and not technophobic, there's a word for the specific guy who like destroyed a bunch of he like blew up a factory because it was taking away jobs from people.
And that wasn't the Unabomber?
No, it's based off his name. God, it's gonna kill me. All right, but he's like that basically. Where
it's a type of communism, right?
No, it's more just Luddite.
Luddites.
Yeah.
Well, that was before the Unabomber, right?
Yes. The Ludd was a guy. He destroyed a bunch of machines in a factory because they were taking away jobs from people.
Right.
And I'm imagining that that's what Amon wants, is to blow up machines in factories because they're taking away jobs from people.
So he has his own agenda behind the Red Lotus.
No. His agenda is like the Red Lotus to return things to a more primitive living state.
So they're all Luddites?
Well, yeah, they're Luddites, but their thing is more spiritual, and it can be that he wasn't part of the original Red Lotus, but he gets recruited, maybe
in the second season, or
in this, in the second season he can appear and
or at the end of the first season we get this cool showcase.
So here we go. So season 2, Amon shows up at the Red Lotus base.
I think it was Oman.
It was Amon. You useless.
No, but it was
garbage.
It was spelled Oman.
It was not spelled Oman.
Look it up.
No, I read it like 9 seconds ago when it was on the wiki. All right, and it's Amon. Amon. He shows up at the Red Lotus base. Volunteers his services. The Red Lotus put him through a bunch of trials where we get to see how badass he is. Amon claims to be a prophet touched by the spirits.
But he is.
And sent to
restore
balance.
Right.
he says that he's the new Jesus.
He's the new Avatar.
He's the new Avatar, pretty much.
But the dark Avatar.
He doesn't claim that he has but he's not like, oh yes, I can do all 4 elements. He's more like, I'm here to rip away people's bending, basically.
He can do that
to restore balance. Right? Yeah. In this, yes, he can do that.
But they're not particularly against bending. The Red Lotus. No, they're not against bending. But what he wants is he's going to help them tear down the hierarchy, because basically he's going to rip away the bending abilities from the people who are in power, the royal families, basically. Question:
destroy the power structure.
Are we going to have the same members of the Red Lotus?
Yeah, because I kind of liked them. We could add different members or change their personalities if you like. But
yeah, I liked them too. They were able to showcase cool new abilities as well as older abilities. It's a little
try hard for my taste with some of the lava bending. It's introducing new abilities to try and make the thing cool again, I guess.
Fly bending wasn't awesome. It wasn't awesome.
No, that wasn't. There was nothing particularly cool about that. Not really. No, he could just as well have a glider and be. That's not like you could also push him. It's not that big of a deal. He could just jump up. I don't. Doesn't really make any sense. There's another question though. Is we're not going to have the harmonic convergence, which I remember is what they call.
It's called harmonic convergence,
which means that Zahir isn't going to have airbending powers. Unless retcon it.
The lion turtles come back, and the lion turtle that has the ability to give people airbending powers comes back.
I don't think so.
Okay, so no new airbenders?
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Because otherwise the gene is just going to go extinct and there will be only 3 elements.
Not necessarily.
Okay. So?
But I think the idea of suddenly people gaining airbending powers is dumb.
I think it's dumb too. That's why I came up with the lion turtle idea.
Well, but then there'd have to be an evil lion turtle, and that sounds bad as well.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be.
It's going to show up and be like, Zahir, you seem worthy of my power. Bestow.
He doesn't have to be. He could be a generous lion turtle.
Well, then he's just stupid. Either way, defeats the purpose of the lion.
He's the air lion turtle. He says, you do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, but that defeats the purpose of the lion. That makes the lion turtles at best morally ambiguous and at worst, drastically incompetent. Or not incompetent, what's the word for when? Neglectful.
Neglectful. All right. So then, how do you say it's going to happen?
I was just thinking Zahir doesn't have any powers.
But how are the airbenders going to come back?
They don't.
So there will only be 3 elements. The airbending gene will go extinct.
Yeah, probably. That's assuming that genes work the way they do in real life, which I'm assuming they don't.
Okay. What if they're a dormant gene that have spread out throughout the nation that suddenly awakened?
But the idea is that people are born in. I'm assuming because they get their abilities from the elements and it specifically comes from cultures that are rooted in one particular place, right?
Right.
It's inherited hereditarily.
Right.
I don't see why it would go extinct, and instead it wouldn't just the more Tenzin has children, Tenzin's children have children, those children will have children.
It's all going to come from a single family.
Yeah. Why would it go extinct because of that?
Because
I don't know why magic would work the way that genes work in real life.
Because eventually all those kids are going to end the line. There are going to be no more airbenders.
Not necessarily. If the number of them continues to rise. I'm just saying.
Okay, if it continues enough,
then
it won't matter so they can breed with each other.
No, that's not what I'm suggesting.
But they'll know.
Well, yeah, it won't work in every single instance, but what I'm saying is it's the law of averages, right? If you have enough children and they have enough children, then eventually it'll be dispersed so far that it will become commonplace again. If Tenzin becomes the Attila the Hun of his generation, then enough people.
I don't think he will be.
He won't. But if one of his children does, then
the bald kid.
Look, we're not going to discuss because it's disgusting. But I'm just saying that I don't know why it has to go extinct without It makes more sense to me that this is a thing that will continue just in a much smaller population because that's how genocide works.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me write down some shit. God damn it. Yeah, alright, I'm good. Okay, where are the Red Lotus? The previous ones are the White Lotus. They contain Zahir. No powers, Zahir. No powers for you. Sparky Boom Girl.
Sparky Boom Girl.
Lava Man. And the Octopus Woman.
She didn't. They were just two.
They sound like a circus now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
they sound a lot like a circus. All right, so episode 2, the White Lotus arrive to figure out what to do with Korra because her bending is out of control. She keeps accidentally destroying things.
Right, because she has a temper. That's a notable trait.
I'm imagining Korra is super powerful. So the beginning thing for her in the first season was that she can't be dexterous. She can't be subtle when she uses her bending.
Right.
It's all offensive, super powerful force. So that's why she's unable to grasp stuff like airbending.
And the reason for that is
that she's really she's a really powerful bender off the gate, but she lacks any kind of discipline with her abilities. She has no self-control.
Okay, so there isn't a reason for it.
No, it's just her personality is what I'm at.
All right, fine.
I don't know. I mean, if you question that, then that's okay too. We can totally change it.
The Avatar is supposed to be adaptive.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's why I think it would be interesting. That's the only aspect of her character that I really know is the fact that she is very powerful, but she is not. She has no discipline. She doesn't have any coordination.
Right.
And we can
she's
totally
more like an earthbender than a waterbender.
Sounds like a corny line that an old person would say in one of the episodes. She's more like an earthbender than a waterbender. Now that I come to think of it, I don't know why I'm speaking like this. No, so we can change that too. So episode 1. Aang dies. Instrumental intro with no words. Korra going. What's the thing that Water Tribe kids do for fun besides sliding on penguins? Penguinis.
Penguoffins.
They could go water skiing, but the water is super cold, so that's not safe.
I
guess they're used to swimming in ice cold water, but still, though.
But
they can do kind of like a surfing thing. They're just hanging out with her family. No, hanging out with the family. Hanging out with Akko.
Avatar Korra, the most recent previous water Avatar, he was surfing in the flashback he was doing. While Aang was meditating to talk to him. Right?
So what? Would you say? An acolyte visited Aang when he was meditating?
Aang was meditating
when he died.
No.
Go ahead.
He
Yes.
Before he battled Fire Lord Ozai, he was meditating on the lion turtle to find. He was talking to other previous avatars, and he met Avatar Korra, the most recent water avatar.
Correct.
And he was surfing in the flashback.
But he was from the Northern Water Tribe. They can still be surfing. It makes sense if they're surfing.
All right.
Or hanging out with Akko, surfing with Akko. Surfing while Akko watches.
Right, because only waterbenders can surf.
Well, no, I'm just imagining that's like Akko's personality. Katara visits Tanarak and Cinna. We cut to some... Because Katara is still alive at this point. We cut to some whale hunters.
Yeah.
Who have...
Far out of the shore.
Far out on the ocean. Cutting through...
But you can kind of see the beach in the horizon.
Sure, yeah. We cut to the whale hunters far out in the ocean, cutting through the waves. Cutting through the ice. They see a weird glowing thing beneath the water. And then their ship gets knocked over. Because I'm imagining this thing is huge.
Right, that's what I was asking before. How big is this spirit?
It's about as big as a whale. But it can crawl around on land. And
so does it have limbs?
I'm imagining it's got like whale limbs. Like, you know, like the prehistoric whales that had like, they could scramble up onto the ground if they needed to.
Okay.
Maybe that's not a thing, but they have like slightly deformed arms.
Look, the very early cetaceans had sort of crocodilian hands.
Crocodilian, that's what I'm imagining.
Okay.
It has like one set of limbs.
Right.
And where its fins would be. And they can be like slightly weird looking, and it crawls up on land and starts destroying the town.
Yeah. I keep imagining them so muscular.
Oh, the arms?
Right.
Yeah, it's really disturbing to look at, because whales are disturbing creatures, let's be honest. Okay, so then we see a weird glowing thing in the water, then their ship gets knocked over.
So it's kind of an amalgamation of different cetaceans, right? Like there's orca.
Yeah, I'm imagining it doesn't look specifically like one kind of whale. It looks like a weird mix of whale and fish life forms, and it's weird, like a spirit should be.
Okay.
Then the ship gets knocked over.
But this isn't the spirit of the ocean?
This isn't the spirit of the ocean. The spirit of the ocean is in the North Pole. This is the spirit of...
The spirit of the ocean is in the ocean.
But yeah, but it's also a koi in a pond in the North Pole.
Okay. Right. That's where its physical body is.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah, you got it.
Right.
You're on it. You're on the scent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't physically manifest until now because it's been desecrated. Like, I think Hanu was the name of the panda bear spirit who got super angry when they burned down a forest. Hanu. It was like Hanu or Hanu or something.
We
keep getting the names wrong. All right, so then the ship gets knocked over. Cut to Korra walking with Akko on the beach and kicking rocks. Or actually, we should start with morning. Korra gets water from the well or whatever. I don't know why she would need. Why they would need a well? Gets does chores, right? She like feeds something.
They get water from a distillery.
Feeds something, dries something, and kisses her mother before she leaves the house. She goes to the barracks where Akko is the only one awake and hitting a training dummy with a stick. Korra's dad comes and Korra asks if they can go surfing. Korra's dad relents after making sure Korra's done her chores. And Korra excitedly pulls Akko along with her. And we get to the ocean. We do that. Place that there. You get it. Give it. Kicking rocks. Korra is about to admit her feelings.
Right.
For Akko. And I'm imagining we get like when she first visits Akko at the barracks, we get. Go ahead.
We're not killing her now, right?
No, she's gonna die later.
Because
I'm imagining
because it felt like you were building.
No,
up
I'm
to
just
that.
imagining they get interrupted. Korra's like, so I wanted to tell you about something, right? and then they hear like a crashing noise, and they turn and see like the boats, like the boat, like the dock is destroyed basically, and something's crawling out of the water, and then they go running to try and see what it is.
Okay.
The spirit attacks. And so here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Mako, Bolin, Asami,
right?
Sushimi, Bizo,
and the fire ferret,
and the fire ferret. You got it. What's the I'm asking. Are they gonna be in this first episode?
No, right? Because it would be weird.
Well, but we need another.
It would be awkward.
But we're gonna change their backstories, right? We could
change their personalities.
Well, we could make it like a Toph and Zuko thing where they pick these people up as they go. But we're gonna need other people than Akko for Katara to talk to.
Well, there's her dad.
I mean, like people her age.
People her age, right? How's this? She doesn't have those.
No, I know.
What?
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm thinking like, what if
she communicates with a spirit?
Well, we could totally do that. Yeah, but probably not in the first episode.
Not the first episode.
Later in this first season, maybe she could come in contact with a spirit, and they could like decide to go along with her.
Right.
That could totally be a thing.
Okay.
I'd be up for that. I don't think that's too weird as long as the spirit isn't like in every episode. Or did you want it to be in every episode?
No. What I was thinking is it can't.
Because all I can think of
is it can't be fully in the world. It has to be slightly there.
Yeah, I'm imagining other people can't see it or hear it. It just appears to her sometimes, like on her shoulder, and talks to her in like a weird voice.
Yeah.
Which sounds disturbing the more that I talk about it, but it's okay. The spirit can be slightly disturbing.
But we don't need another person now, right?
Well, I'm just imagining. I don't know. I feel like Mako and Bolin. We should maybe introduce them at this point.
Okay. How?
What if they're at the Water Tribe orphanage?
What?
Well, they're orphans, right?
15-year-old orphans?
Yeah. Well, it can be that they run away. Yeah, they can be runaways.
Okay.
They're runaways. They're in the Southern Water Tribe, or the big city by the water. And they're just minding their own business, and then get attacked by a whale spirit.
Right.
And one of them can get hurt.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. One of their arms gets broken.
Yeah, one of them gets badly hurt, so they have to go to an infirmary and get him healed.
Right. I was thinking Bolin.
Or we could just have it that in the second season, Akko and Korra pick them up, visiting someplace.
Because apparently we need more people.
Well, it can't be just her and Akko. Look.
Right. So
there needs to be more people.
So
that's all I'm saying. Or no.
Just say it.
No, it's fine.
Say it.
I was going to suggest that possibly Asami show up in the first season.
Okay.
But that doesn't make any sense.
So her father is an inventor.
I mean,
right?
Yeah. We could totally just change the backstory of Bolin and Mako and have them show up at the White Lotus base.
Because
they're orphans and they got took in by one. They have been taken in by one of the White Lotus masters, so they live there at the base and they perform custodial duties.
That's weird.
No, it's not super weird.
And do they have a base?
No. Well, yes, yeah, they do. There's they have a big icy fortress they have a bunch of bases. They're fine. They can have a base in the Malay Ocean, and that can be where Korra goes.
Because I thought they just lived in their own places and then they would gather whenever they needed to. Fine. They have bases.
They can have a base. They can have a secret base in the Malay Ocean that you go to when they're that they specifically designed for training the Avatar.
All right. And there's Mako and Bolin cleaning up the place because they were adopted by a member of the White Lotus.
They were adopted by a member of the White Lotus. I'm trying to think of which one.
Wait.
And we don't know the names of the other ones except for Tenzin. But that's not the point. We can come up with one and he can die later and that can be part of the motivation for him to leave with her.
Tenzin.
The air guy? Oh my god. J.K. Simmons. Tenzin. Yes, his name is Tenzin.
Right.
Zen.
Right. Aang's master.
Aang's son. Yep. No.
Son?
Yeah, his son.
The bald kid?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, Tenzin. Okay.
J.K. Simmons.
Right, J.K. Simmons.
How could you? Jesus.
He wasn't a member of the White Lotus.
I don't believe that you're actually. Yes, he was. He went there. He visited the base in the first episode.
Well, right. Of course, he was working with them because.
Okay, fine. He can be working with.
Obviously, he knew them.
Listen to me.
Right.
No, don't even try that. All right, I've had enough of you. I've had enough. Look, all right.
Right.
Spirit attacks. So fine, we don't see them in this episode, and we won't see them for the next 2 or 3 episodes. But we'll see them eventually. So the spirit attacks. Akko rushes in to defend the tribe against Korra's pleading and gets hurt badly. Korra tries to fight the spirit with waterbending because she's headstrong like that.
Right.
And gets pummeled.
And
Katara and Tonrak start fighting the thing.
Tonrak?
Yeah, Tonrak. Whatever.
Right.
And start fighting the spirit. The spirit. And Korra has a vision.
Okay.
She has a vision of the future.
What?
She has a spiritual vision.
No.
Okay, we can save that for a later episode.
Of the future?
Yes.
That okay. Happens.
It's okay. We can save that
it's
for another.
It's a thing that happens.
We can save that for another episode. Look, it's okay.
And then
we can save it for another
Korra.
No, she doesn't have a vision. Korra has a vision of the other avatars before her.
So she
infinite people in a line thing.
And
then I don't know, it may sound like she died. I don't know why I did that. I was just blanking. No, she wakes up in avatar state and fights the spirit.
Right. I don't know why it took you so long to get there. The spirit gets beaten backward.
But prevails.
But prevails in what?
But she can't defeat it, I'm imagining, because the spirits are like indestructible, basically.
I mean, no.
They're not. You can't kill them.
You can if they're in the mortal realm. As seen in the episode when the spirit of the moon was killed.
Yeah, but that's only when it had like a physical body.
Yeah.
Well,
and this doesn't have a physical body.
Well, imagine it was kind of translucent. But no.
Then it would be invisible to everyone.
No, not invisible, just like you can see through it.
But can you do that?
No.
Because the villagers who are dealing with the panda of spirit...
They're fine. No, I'm fine. No, it's fine if it... you're right. It should be like the panda spirit, and it took this monstrous form, and it's a physical thing. But they couldn't defeat the panda spirit because it was like invincible.
Sure,
because it had vengeance on its side.
Yeah, and it's like a whale spirit.
Yeah, like it's not going to get... Like, I'm imagining she can't kill it with water bending. Or like even like really badly hurt it. She might be able to like stun it temporarily or like beat it back.
I mean, the spirit of the moon probably could have done something.
I'm imagining it's really powerful. So what I'm thinking is like somebody like realizes the reason why it's here and appeals to its better nature, and that's why it goes back.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure out who that would be. I'm thinking maybe Akko.
Unlock had the thing with the...
Unalak. Yeah, Unalak had the Unalak, but he's not here, I'm assuming.
He lives in the North Pole.
He's in the North Pole. I'm imagining he shows up in later episodes of the first season, but not now.
Okay. And... Alright, so it seems like we finished this scene.
I'm trying to... Who's the person who...
Right, who's the person
who figures out that it's them killing the whales that has summoned this vengeance and like apologizes?
I think anyone could figure that out. What about Korra's mother? What about Katara?
I imagine Katara got knocked out of the way before Korra went into Avatar state.
I mean, she's 90 by now.
Yeah, she would have probably died. No, I'm imagining she's mostly all right. She just got like knocked into some snow or something.
Or 100. She's 100. She's over 100.
Or I've got it. Okay, so Katara is healing Akko and watching Korra go nuts on this thing. And Akko mentions the whaling boats. It stepped on.
All right.
Because I imagine they saw it when it came out of the water because they were on the beach. They saw it come up and like purposefully destroy the whaling boats.
All right.
Maybe that's kind of cheesy. I don't know. I'm imagining they can't beat it with physical force, which is a show that, and then like Korra is like completely spent. Like she defended the town temporarily, but she couldn't defeat the thing even in Avatar state.
And Katara
like appeals to the thing's better nature.
Okay.
With Akko's help.
Because Akko told Katara the problem. The thing. Yeah. Okay. So
then episode 2, the White Lotus arrived to figure out what to do with Korra. And initially, Tonrek and Sina don't consent to sending Korra away. But then the Red Lotus attack, because surprise is one of their chief weapons. Surprise and ruthless efficiency.
I can control an element. Which element? The element of surprise!
But then the Red Lotus attack, and they see how powerful they are and how defenseless Korra still is against Korra's wishes. She is sent to
it probably could have been killed with physical force.
White Lotus base. Yeah, but I'm imagining they don't kill it with physical. I don't think they. All right, fine, Jacob. If you want them to kill the whale spirit with physical force, then we can. No, I
don't want to kill the spirit.
Okay, then.
But they could just retreat
and come back later.
No,
it's not afraid of them, Jacob. It's a spirit. They're animals.
Well,
it's like a transcendent
if it doesn't
being.
Get killed.
It's like
then it's just going to keep attacking.
Yes. No, not if they appease it.
Not if they appease it.
Like saying
Katara.
We're not gonna. Yeah, because she makes right with it.
Right. Okay. Fine. Right. Episode 2. She's at a hospital.
I'm imagining Korra, episode 2. Korra is recovering. Akko is trying to stay in practice, even though she is also still recovering. And I'm imagining the White Lotus arrived to figure out what to do with Korra. Actually, what if episode 2, right? Korra's recovering, right? They're like, yeah, you're the Avatar, right? Korra talks with Katara. Unalaq shows up because he's like, a spirit attacked this town,
right?
And your mojo is all messed up, guys. Or Katara, maybe Katara brings Unalaq in, even though Tonrak doesn't like that, because Unalaq is like a priest.
I mean,
he brings him in.
If Unalaq heard this, then he probably would have come anyway, because his niece just went crazy.
Well, yeah, he's there for the reason why Katara got him is to help her set it right with the whale spirit and the spirits in the sea, so that this doesn't happen again. Because I'm imagining Tonrak is the chief of the water tribe, but Katara is still like in a position of power, where she could do stuff like that. She's well respected.
All right.
She's 90 something, so you better respect her. So then Akko is trying to stay in practice, although she's still recovering, and Tonrak gives her some advice about not pushing yourself. Katara invited Unalaq, which causes tension. Korra has a discussion with her parents about how much things will change now. And Unalaq and Tonrak almost come to blows because they hate each other.
All right.
And Korra's bending goes nuts.
Again.
Yeah. Well, for the first time. Pretty much for the first time. She doesn't go into Avatar state, but like she can control it for a second.
Right. And she's trying to break up the fight between Unalaq and Tonrak?
Sure. While goes nuts while trying to step in between the two of them. Because I'm imagining Unalaq is like, yeah, you really messed up here, right? He's being very pretentious about their lack of spirituality, pretty much, and how they brought this on themselves, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then, like, also he's like, and Korra should definitely come with me to the North Pole, right? Now that she's the Avatar, right? And Tonrak's like, that's definitely not going to happen. And they continue to argue like a couple of times, okay. And then and then episode 3,
wait, that's all of episode 2?
Yeah. That's enough conflict, and we get seen with
because it seemed like a lot more happened in episode 1. That's just how it feels.
Look, I don't have a ton of characters to work with.
Okay.
And
episode 3.
We need to set up Korra not being able to control her powers to justify the White Lotus showing up and being like, maybe we should take her in quicker.
Okay,
than
episode
normal.
3. Wait, but Does Korra not know yet?
No, she knows.
Okay.
I'm imagining in episode 2, right, they explain it to her. She has like a conversation with her parents.
Okay.
She has a conversation with Unalak at one point. There's talking and there's action when the two of them fight, and then action when Korra can't control her powers and things go nuts. Okay. And then in the whole time, Akko is like working herself to the bone.
What's this hospital like?
You know, I imagine it's not all taking place in the hospital. She's like probably recovered. She went to the hospital. She recovers at home. She can walk around by the time that the duel happens. This is like a couple of days after. It's not directly after.
Okay. All right.
And then episode 3, the White Lotus arrive.
Okay, but what about how does Akko respond to all of this? When does she find out?
Well, Akko probably. What I was thinking is she's hurt.
Okay.
Like Korra's hurt. She's not as hurt, but she's hurt. But she's still doing practice, like practice fighting.
Okay.
She's like drilling herself to the bone.
Right.
Because she feels like she wasn't good enough to defeat the thing.
Okay. I mean, no one could have defeated that behemoth.
Yeah, but she's messed up because of what happened. She just watched a monster come out of the ocean, destroy half of the town, and then almost kill her and her best friend.
Again, it's this world's Leviathan. Nothing can destroy it.
Well, yeah, and one of the characters can totally like tell that to her and be like, there's nothing you could have done. This isn't your fault.
But did she really think?
No, it's not like a rational thing, Jacob. It's a coping mechanism.
Because she's supposed to be the practical one.
She doesn't have to be the practical one.
Okay, fine. She's practicing.
She can be headstrong, but in a different way than Korra, where she's not loud and headstrong. She's quiet and headstrong.
All right. She's practicing.
The two of them can be headstrong.
And talking about the spirit, and then
Akko is trying to stay in practice, and I imagine Tonrak can give her advice. Okay. Tonrak, because he's training her, he could be like, you shouldn't be doing this to yourself. Right. You're going to hurt yourself.
And then
episode 3 is the White Lotus show up.
Okay, but
what do you mean, but?
When does Akko find out
about the Avatar thing? Oh, we can also have it that Korra is trying. Korra is recovering, but trying to talk to Akko, who is purposefully avoiding her.
Because
she's the Avatar.
Oh, right. She saw her in the Avatar state.
She was like awake. She was just bleeding out on the snow.
I was so worried about that. Oh, man.
Jesus Christ.
I was
amateur hour.
Lost.
Right? Okay, episode 3, the White Lotus arrive to figure out what to do with Korra because her bending is out of control and she keeps accidentally destroying things. This is where we are introduced to Tenzin.
Okay. Tenzin, right?
Yeah, Tenzin. And Katara talks to Tonrak and Senna about the White Lotus becoming corrupt once they becoming misguided. Once they became a known and powerful organization and the old members died.
Okay.
Initially, Tonrak and Cena don't consent to send Korra away, but the Red Lotus attack and they see how... And then we can have Unalak goes on like a vision quest to like talk to the spirits in the water.
Oh, okay. Vision quest?
Yeah.
This sounds familiar.
Well, that's a thing that happens. It's kind of a thing that happens in the second season, but it can happen here because it's cool. Unalak goes on a vision quest to speak with, to communicate with the ocean spirits. Unalak,
there's only one ocean spirit.
Recognize the spirits that live in the ocean.
Okay.
Like forest spirits live in a forest.
Right.
Recognizes that
the spirit world equivalent of the forest.
Recognizes that the problem is beyond Tonrak's control and asks Cena how he can apologize. she gives practical advice. Tonrak is trying to figure out if he should listen to the White Lotus and send Korra away. Unalak tells him that the White Lotus do not represent the old traditions.
Right.
And he believes, for the welfare of his niece, she should not leave the South Pole so soon.
Right.
Okay. And then the Red Lotus attack. And here's the thing, right? What if I guess so far these episodes don't have a ton of action, but what if the Red Lotus attack and that's like the cliffhanger? No, it won't. It can't be. All right. So the Red Lotus,
cliffhanger?
No, I've dismissed that idea.
Of the season?
Yeah. No, of the episode, but no, it shouldn't happen. The Red Lotus attack in like the third quarter of the episode.
And it's sort of
Katara,
an espionage thing.
And yeah. So Red Lotus attack. They drug Korra while she's. They drug Korra while she is making up. Well, with Akko. And
wait, what? Akko was there?
Yeah, I'm imagining while the White Lotus are discussing things with her parents and Moonlock and Katara and Tenzin, she's like hanging outside on the front porch because she's not allowed in the room, she's super frustrated about that. And like she sees Akko
time ago when I was a young lady.
She sees Akko and she like runs after her and she does some joke about like, well, you can't hide from me now because I'm the Avatar, ha ha ha, right? And Akko is like, yeah, right, of course. And then she's like, why won't you talk to me? And
it's sort of a lame thing to say. You can't hide from me now.
Yeah, it's something like that. And it would make sense for her to make a lame joke because she's nervous.
Yeah.
Because she's afraid of losing her friendship.
Is
and also
she the terrible joke person?
Korra?
Yeah.
Yeah, she can totally be the terrible joke person. That makes sense for her character. She's not good at social situations, probably.
Yeah.
She's not... Yeah, she's like overly intense. She's like yeah, you get my point.
Right.
She's trying to make the best. She's trying to. She was a laid back person before, and that laid backness does not translate well into her now having to deal with this kind of stress. So yeah, and then the Red Lotus attack, the White Lotus, and everyone fight them off. And they see how Cena and Tonrak see how powerful the Red Lotus are. And how defenseless Korra still is. Against Korra's wishes, she's sent to the White Lotus's base. And that's the end of episode 3.
All right.
And then I'm imagining, we can wrap it up now because we don't have to go through the details. But this being our base thing, and then I'm imagining...
Okay. Let's just do basic premises of each episode of season 1.
Okay, sure. So, episode 4, Korra is learning bending, is super frustrated, meets Mako and Bolin. Episode 5, she learns to accept her situation.
Right. With the comfortment of Bolin. Because he's the comforting guy. He's the nice guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't suggesting anything else. I promise.
I should hope not. So, yeah, learns to accept the situation with Bolin.
Because you were looking at me like
help
that.
And... because of the way you phrase it.
Right.
And with perspective about how awful their lives have been.
Yeah.
I
mean, it shouldn't be.
Episode 5, Korra sneaks out with Mako to do something she shouldn't. Bolin tries and fails to cover for them.
Yeah. Bad at lying.
And they get caught. Korra overhears a conversation about sending Bolin and Mako away. And runs away. Episode 6. Tenzin tracks down Korra.
Yeah.
She tries to spar with him. He convinces her that he can make things better.
Okay.
Tenzin informs the White Lotus that he will be her new teacher.
Right. I mean, he's the only teacher she can have.
Well, there's a bunch of them at the White Lotus, but I'm imagining so far with her, or he can be one of her teachers. He will be a new teacher for her. That's what I'm imagining.
Right.
Is the deal. And then, like, episode 7 is all from Akko's perspective.
Sure.
Yeah. We're still keeping up with her.
It seems a bit early for a character showcasing, but okay.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. If I'm imagining, like, with these other episodes, we have Korra's storyline, which is story A, right? And then we either have a side story with Mako and Bolin, or with Tenzin, or with Akko back in the Water Tribe.
All right.
And then I'm imagining we have the episode 7 is all from Akko's perspective, Akko alone, and she decides to run away.
That's what we're all thinking. She decides to run away for what reason?
To find Korra.
Okay. I wasn't sure where she was running.
Well, she's not sure where she's running either, so that's okay.
I have to track the entire South Pole.
Yeah, she's not in the South Pole. You make no sense.
Oh my God, where are they again?
They're on an island in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, Whale Tail Island. Right.
I'm trying to remember what Whale Tail Island is in the actual
It was
show.
occupied by the Southern Raiders, but it was also where people pretended Appa was being held when he was kidnapped. And so
Whale Tail Island.
Whale Tail Island.
The Southern Raiders, the
people who wiped out the waterbenders.
Who went, I get you.
Hawk people.
That's where the White Lotus is going to build their new base, on the bones of that.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
Because it keeps getting referenced. We have to continue the joke.
Is it like is that the thing that Whale Tail Island is like? This is like a MacGuffin? It continues to.
You're finding the wrong thing.
All right, this is on.
You're looking in the wrong place.
Sent to the Whale Tail base. White Lotus base on Whale Tail Island. Okay, this is all from Akko's perspective. She gets advice. She gets advice from Katara about following the path of your beloved, and she decides to run away. Because I'm imagining while Korra is gone, Akko is coming to grips with the fact that she also liked Korra a lot.
Right.
And she misses her, and she thinks she's in a terrible situation. She has to get her out of it.
Since we're talking about traditions and social norms that females acquire,
So do you want... Okay, well, there's two ways we can play this. We can either be like, yeah, that's just normal in this world, or we can be like, yes, this is a thing that the characters have to grapple with, and it's a big deal for all of them.
I mean, just so we can focus on other things, I would like for it to be a normal thing.
Okay.
That people are okay with. Glad we established
Well,
that.
I also think there's a lot of character development that could be... that could come from it not being immediately accepted thing.
Okay. So does Katara accept it?
Imagine Katara doesn't know exactly what the situation is, but I imagine Katara is accepting it.
Yeah.
She's a very forward-thinking person.
She's just assuming that's what it is.
Yeah, she's got that wise thing where she doesn't know exactly what Akko is talking about when Akko tells her problems, but she's pretty sure she knows.
Waterbender's intuition.
She has eyes, obviously. The two of them are in love with each other.
Right. I have eyes, you know.
Akko beats up some punks to get her frustration out. She gets a bunch of
Akko beats up some punks to get...
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm imagining we have one episode where Unalaq comes to Whaletail Island and he takes Korra on a spirit quest with him to the South Pole.
A spiritual journey
To the South Pole to try and reconcile with the spirits. Right? I'm imagining on one episode, Korra gets abducted by the Red Lotus.
Right. Abducted by the Red Lotus.
I'm imagining they convince her to help them do bad things.
Convince?
Brainwash her into doing some bad things.
Brainwash?
Yes. You
are in Ba Sing Se now.
She breaks out of it and like messes one of them up, right? Pretty badly.
I'm gonna mess you up.
They run off. She goes back to the White Lotus, realizes there's nothing for her there. And then her, Akko, Bolin, and Mako. She, Bolin, Mako, Akko. We really messed up with the name. Fine, whatever. We'll just change it. It doesn't matter. They run away.
Okay.
Somehow.
Okay.
Not on a flying bison, but on
on an eelhound.
On an eelhound.
And that's
the fastest animal on land or sea.
And that's their spirit animal.
They run away on an eelhound. Well, they probably won't have that eelhound for the whole series, but yeah, they run away on.
Are we going to have a spirit animal?
Maybe.
Because this is supposed to be a thing.
Well, did all the avatars have spirit animals?
Supposedly, because...
Right, Roko had that dragon.
Right.
They never talk about the other ones having spirit animals. But, I mean, we can make it a thing if you'd like that.
Yeah, they don't invest too much into that. But Korra had Naga, the polar bear dog. Right?
Yeah, in the original, also true. Yes. Do we want that to be an aspect of her character, that she had to leave the Naga behind, and then maybe Akko is taking care of Naga, and then Akko brings Naga when she gets on a boat to go to Whaletail Island, because she gets Naga. She stows away on a boat, I'm imagining.
Okay, because the polar bear dog could probably swim.
Also true, but the polar bear dog can't swim forever. I mean, it's the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, maybe not to Whaletail Island.
Yeah, it's too far out. I mean, come on. It has a limited amount of stamina.
Right. Okay, so they get on a boat. A boat that's big enough to carry.
Yeah, they hide in a cargo boat.
Okay.
I'm imagining, in a cargo boat. And
going to Whaletail Island.
Yeah. So Unalaq takes Korra back to the South Pole to conduct.
Wait. Are there any wars going on?
No.
Well then,
there's I'm imagining the White Lotus are what's the word? The United Nations, but more powerful. So the countries are they don't go to war with each other because it would mess up their trade agreements and everything.
All right. Then
also, there's only 3 nations.
Then what is Akko going to do?
What do you mean?
With the warrior skills? it's just to defend the village from bandits, people who break the law.
wild animals,
right.
spirits that come out of the water.
She's more of a police officer.
Yes, that's what she wants to defend her home.
All right.
And she decides that she has to go help Korra because Korra is part of her.
Okay.
Yeah. But then, like...
I'm a part of you.
Yes. Unalaq takes Korra back to the South Pole to conduct the spirit journey. Korra is distant to her parents because she doesn't forgive them for sending her away and is unable to find Akko. Akko stows away on a boat with Naga. She is found. Korra, Tenzin, and Unalaq journey to the center of the pole.
All right. Okay, Akko gets caught. What does that entail?
I'm imagining the sailors find her.
Right.
And episode 9, right, she's like tied up.
Okay.
Naga is tied up. They like wrap nets around her or whatever. After a while of trying to get her to stop growling at them, they tied her up.
Okay.
And then like the captain's like, yeah, we're gonna like you're gonna go to jail, you know that, right?
Right.
And then the ship gets attacked by pirates.
Yes, I'm listening.
The ship gets attacked by pirates, and then like the pirates take over the ship. Right? They take all the money. They take all the precious cargo, and then they rob all the sailors of their pants just to teach them a lesson. And then the captain is like, he asks Akko if she wants to come with them.
That's it's a bit unlikely.
No, it makes sense. This is how pirates recruit people.
Okay,
it's through mutiny.
But Akko, would she really do agree to that?
The alternative is her going to jail for stowing away on a boat. She wasn't.
Well, yeah, but the ship has already been overthrown.
Also true, but they didn't it's not like they're stranding the boat in the middle of nowhere. They just took all the valuable stuff, and is what I'm imagining.
And then they're stranding it in the middle of nowhere.
No, they're leaving all the crew there.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So
it's not like they kill everyone.
So she joins the crew.
Well, yeah, they like take her, or it can be like the guy's like he likes the captain to be like, I like the bear thing. Bring it on board because we can sell that to somebody, right?
Okay.
And then bring it on board, and then Akko convinces the captain to bring her on board because she makes up a lie or something. Oh, why she's there.
So she's going to get out of that?
Yeah, her plan is to then, on the pirate ship, escape with Naga.
All right. Right.
I'm imagining.
Yeah.
So episode 9, Unalaq and Korra go into a trance. And we see them wandering through the spirit world. Korra thinks she sees Akko would she see Akko? I'm thinking maybe she thinks she sees Aang, and she runs away from Unalaq, and then the two of them are separated in the spirit world.
All right.
The two become separated in the spirit world.
And then Korra turns into a 6-year-old.
No. Also, Uncle Iroh does not appear.
So he doesn't become an ageless spirit?
No. Akko...
So that isn't a thing that can happen?
Volunteers to join some pirates and help them sell off Naga. And they agree. And Tenzin sees a vision of his father while watching over Korra. and they have a brief but meaningful discussion. And then Korra gets abducted.
All right.
And I'm imagining we can leave it for there. This is a very long episode. Usually we don't go this long. It's been like 3 hours.
This is 18. Is that the whole season? It isn't?
That's not the whole season because, like I said, I imagine we have like episode 10. They brainwash Korra, Mako and Bolin, find out what happened, and Unalak and Tenzin get yelled at.
All right.
By Korra's parents.
Right.
Episode 11, Korra helps the Red Lotus. She helps them start a volcano, pretty much.
Huh. Okay.
Then she sees her friends. And she and then I'm imagining like Tenzin and the White Lotus track them down. She ends up fighting Tenzin, snaps out of her conditioning.
Okay.
And tries to stop the volcano as best she can.
Okay.
And Zahir gets a neat scar. Like, I'm imagining half his face gets burnt off by lava or something.
Zahir burnt off by lava.
Well, it can just be that he's like close to the lava and his face catches fire because it's so hot.
So Zahir was here all along.
Yeah. Zahir is part of the Red Lotus.
Wait,
he's the leader.
I thought we were going to have him get recruited.
No, Amon gets recruited in the second season.
Okay, Zahir's the leader.
Yeah, Zahir is wears gray robes. He's bald. He's got a scar.
Yeah, I remember it. I was just
Zahir gets a neat scar, and the Red Lotus escape barely.
Right.
Episode 12. Korra returns home. Her parents deciding she's much safer with them.
Right.
And they will wait for any kind of training.
Mm-hmm.
Korra figures out from Akko that she can't listen to either her parents or the White Lotus, and she needs to figure out how to be the Avatar on her own.
Right. Wait, does she have to be Avatar on her own?
Well, she has. I'm imagining this is the point where she realizes she has to stop the Red Lotus.
Okay.
She has to protect the world from people like them. And in order to do that, that means she has to leave. She has to travel the world and actually see what bending is actually like. She can't like be in a school where she learns it because that's not the way you're supposed to do it.
That isn't?
No.
Someone has told you that isn't the way you're supposed to do it?
We're supposed to be that you're supposed to, it's supposed to be a journey, like a quest.
Right. Yeah. You learn, you grow as a person.
Right. Like when you see with Roku, right? We saw him meeting different bending masters, pretty much.
Yeah. You can't really see it as an art form if you're learning it at school.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's not like a skill that they can teach you. It's something you have to feel and you have to find the right master. And so it's a quest. It becomes part of you.
Okay.
Pretty much. So she leaves home.
At this point, all the main characters are separated.
No, because I'm imagining, and this is what happens, right? Is that yeah. Well, I'm imagining like Akko and Akko and Akko and Mako and Bolin, right? They go looking for Korra after she runs away, or after she gets kidnapped. Because I'm imagining Akko, she escapes the pirates, she gets to the Whale Tail Island, but then Korra is missing. She's gone.
Yeah.
She's been kidnapped, essentially. Yeah. And then she convinces Mako to help. Like, Bolin won't do it, but she convinces Mako to help her break into, like, the office of one of the people.
Sorry, we paused right there.
That's okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm imagining is then they team up, and then Bolin finds out what they're doing and agrees to help them. And this time he covers for Mako better because they have like a rapport, the two of them. Where
right, he feels guilty that he failed.
Bolin is the good one, so he's always making up.
He's the nice one
for Mako messing up pretty much, because Mako does the shady things, which means that bad things tend to happen. Yeah, pretty much. He's evil. No, so then I'm imagining they catch up, and they, like, when Korra's fighting Tenzin or whatever, like, they try to stop her, basically. Or they try to, like, they're, like, there in the island that the volcano is exploding, right? And she sees them. And I'm imagining...
Does every Avatar have to fight a volcano?
I just thought it would be a cool thing for her to help them do.
Because I'm sensing a theme.
Look, it doesn't have to be a volcano. It can be something like a volcano.
It can be a volcano.
And then yeah, I think that'll be that's and then she runs away with them. Or she... let me think about it. She runs away with Akko.
Right.
And then maybe Mako and Bolin are just out in the world because they got separated from everyone else in the chaos, and they can't go back to Whale Tail Island because they're not wanted.
Okay.
So they're on their own now.
So in season 2, they're all going to be separated.
The two groups will be separated, and then eventually they'll link back up. I'm mentioning.
All right.
And also Mon will be introduced, and the 6 will raise higher, and probably Asami will show up in the second season, if not the second season.
All right.
So we got a pretty good basis for that. So that's pretty much what the first season will be like, and then we may do season 2 at some point, but probably not. This was a very long episode. We went through a lot of.
We may have to split
had
this
a lot
into
of
parts.
Circular gags. I don't know about that. That sounds like awful lot of work. Thank you for watching or listening to Footnotes, episode 6, Legend of Korra, season 1. If you have any comments on how you would improve the show Legend of Korra, feel free to comment below the video. And have a nice day.